Hey everyone, it is Andrew here from IDB with the Eve HomeKit connected light switch from Elgato. We are starting to see more and more switches like this because the idea is you don't want to just control your home from your phone, because that kind of limits you to just, yourself. Your guests have a hard time turning lights and fans and stuff on and off. Maybe people don't want to use their phones or their phones aren't around. So it kind of can produce some problems if you have just a smart home. So things like these switches where you can replace your existing receptacles, you can use the switch manually or you can control it from your phone, or the switch can do just a number of different things. You can obviously set it up to different scenes and control other things in your house at the same time. Inside the box is really just the actual light switch itself. There is a really simple faceplate that sticks on the front, and underneath that faceplate is the HomeKit code that you will use to actually scan and add this to your HomeKit setup. On the back of the unit, obviously, this is just what goes into the wall, so it's not really that important, but you do have 4 wires, the current in and out, a neutral wire, as well as a ground wire. So there are 4 wires on this light switch. They're fairly easy to connect together. They do have the connectors in here, and especially if you already have a light switch, there's tons of different ways to do this online, and there are, of course, instructions included in the thing itself. You just have to be careful. Obviously, don't do anything crazy. If you don't know how to do this, make sure you have someone else help you or hire an electrician. Make sure you have the power off before you start tinkering with the light switch. A lot of things that could go wrong there. That said, with some basic common sense, this is something that can be done relatively quickly and easily. So I do have my wall switch right here that I'm going to be replacing. So it's simple enough just to remove your existing faceplate. You don't need that any longer, which could be a bummer if you have faceplates that you particularly want to use, because of course you have to use the one that comes with this. There's only one that's kind of that rectangular shaped. But once I remove the last one, I do have to film in the dark because of course I have my power off and it turns off the lights in this room at the same time. But I'm just going to pull out all the wires, swap it over to my new switch, and then try to carefully get everything back in here to the receptacle. It is a little bit tight with this wall switch in here, which is something I noticed, but I could have just trimmed these wires back if I really needed to. But overall, it only took me a few minutes to actually make the change to the new light switch, tighten everything up, and then we're going to move on to the HomeKit apps, either the Eve app or the Apple Home app, to actually set it up. So here I am in the Eve app. I'm just going to pull it up, add a new accessory. It's going to ask me for that pairing code there. So it's first going to pair with it, and then it's going to open up the camera. And I'm going to open up the camera, go to the switch itself, and it'll see that code, and it's going to immediately scan that and pull that code into the app and register it and pair it to your iCloud and your HomeKit setup specifically. So it's really secure, which has always been one of the great perks of HomeKit products compared to other smart home accessories. With that code paired, I can go ahead and put on the faceplate and the installation is done. So we're going to go back to the app for a few more customizations. Notably, we're going to choose the room. So this is in my dining room. You can, of course, put those rooms into zones. We also want to name this. So what do I want to name this? This is some ceiling lights there. So I maybe want to call it, dining room lights, dining room switch, whatever you want to call it. That's going to make it easy when you're using Siri. So you want to use a good, easy name that you'll remember when trying to control this. Inside of the Eve app here, I can also choose an icon to go along with it. It's just some ceiling lights. None are the exact ceiling lights that I may be working with, but any ceiling light will kind of get the job done. So here we are in my dining room. I have my dining room switch here on the top, as well as the front door. I have a front door inside of my dining room that is, there's a lock on there. So I do have my smart lock as well as my light. You can see just by toggling that, my lights are going on and off without having to actually touch the switch. So similar to most other smart home products that are out there. It's also really nice to actually see when everything was on and off, so I can see on, off, on, off, on, off, and then on for a little while, off, and then back on again. So really easy to see all the times and everything that was actually happening. You can see it in a list view as well if you don't want to see the timeline. So it may not be as useful for something like a light, but it could be more useful for something like a door lock or a door window sensor to see how much is on and off. And of course, because it is HomeKit, you can pretty much right away use Siri as well. Siri, can you turn on the dining room switch? And pretty much instantly, the lights you can see come on. Now, Apple has its own HomeKit application as well, launching with iOS 10. And it is really nice. I like a lot of stuff you can do here. It pretty much works like other third-party applications. I mean, I can just see my list view. There's my dining room light switch. I can turn it on and off. I can go between my rooms here. Again, dining room, I have a door lock as well as my light switch. I can 3D touch into that, which pulls up a giant switch view. I can toggle it on and off, or go into details where it can make more changes, like the location and the type of what I'm working with. You can turn off the status, which means you're not going to kind of see the status of this existing light. Now, of course, HomeKit switches are going to be really useful because of what they are. You don't have to use your phone to control the lights, but you do have that option. But you can tie it into other accessories, like the door and window switches from E or some other manufacturer. These are really cool too. So I can go ahead and put this on my door, and it's going to let me know every time my door is opened and every time my door is closed. So really useful in and of itself, just kind of letting you know that status. If you go upstairs, oh, did I leave the door open? I did. But you can tie that into other things. So I can say, when this door is opened, turn on my dining room lights. And you could even do it just after sunset. So I can do, when my dining room door opens, after sunset, turn on these lights. So if those are in the same room, it could be really useful. There's a ton of different automation things you can do inside of the HomeKit or other third-party applications, which is why people make smart homes, not just to turn them off from their phone, but to set up those automation controls. So you can schedule this light switch. You can do it based on your location of when you arrive or leave, turning the lights on or off. Overall, this is one of the simplest to install and best looking HomeKit switches out there. If you have any questions about the Eve connected wall switch, let us know down in the comments below. If you'd like to pick one up, you can find it in the description. Make sure you subscribe, and until next time, this is Andrew for IDB.